Hi, I'm Easton. Today, I'm going to read Log Horizon. It's a book. Adventurer, you whose wit is borne by your ranked soul, the mystical world of Stelzisa is home to dragons and giants, magical beasts, and them humans. Fragrant wind, fragrant green winds blow across this new yet ancient island that opens before you like a blank page. Fill it with your life. Chapter 1 Prologue. Netsuku, look out! Up ahead, on your right. Bring it, I've got this. Netsuku yelled back to Shiro, raising his shield. The shield gleamed dull silver as he brought it down on a trifid. My ledge, checking a rafting green bind that had darted out from the left with a single swift strike. Akatsuki sledged into a low crouch, poisoned to guard Shiro. Small stone herb garden wasn't a large sound, however the ancient gaming felicity within its boundaries meant the topography was more varied than the surrounding ruins, and this made it a difficult place to fight. Hey, how come there are so many of these things? They multiply every time you say something off color. Netsuku. What? It's my fault. Instead of entering, Chiro generated a pale magic arrow and fired it into a barrier whistle. Mind's bolt, an arrow of psychic power that could go right through single enemies, was one of the basic offensive spells for enchanters, even as he watched the meter-long weasel jump with a piercing shriek. Cheryl mentally visualized an icon, since recast time was in effect, the icon had lost all its power. Color, and was slowly refilling like an hourglass. Chiro wouldn't be able to use that spell again until the icon had regained its glow. It didn't matter. He had nearly Darcy over spells at his command. Rushed in. Akatsuki, you take the left flank. Yes, sir, on it. In any case, even if he hadn't been able to use his spells, Shiro had two companions on his side now. Better get ready, 'cause here I come. Shield smash. The silver armored warrior charging down the moss covered path, sweeping his shield from side to side, was Netsuku. He was a tall guy with short hair and bright, lively eyes, and he and Shiro but have been friends for years. His class was Guardian. The three warrior classes specialize in single-handedly fielding enemy attacks, and of the three, Guardians had the highest defense. In Elfterra they boasted the nickname, the Breakable Shield. A girl, too slow, a girl who had the air of a shell swallow about her darted through the space net Soku's advance had cleared. A Groot squig creature like a split rugby ball with glass fangs sprung at her, but the girl cut it down with her short sword as she ran, but not even pausing. This was Akatsuki, a slight girl whose black hair danced in the wind, also Shiro's friend. She felt no qualms about calling him my ledge. She was an assassin, a type of master swordsman whose techniques include a one-strike kill and which boasted the greatest physical attack force of all 12 classes. Even as he admired her work, Shiro hurried after them. Shiro's class was Enchanter of the three magic classes. Enchanters were a complete support class that specialized in support spells and negative status magic. As with all the magician classes, their defense was shaky. Shiro couldn't even wear the adventurer's leather armor Akatsuki wore, let alone Netsuku's sturdy full armor. All he had under his big white mantle, which looked a bit like a lab coat, were an ordinary tunic, short shirt, and trousers. Since Scherer was a rear guards player with poor defense, it wasn't a good idea for him to be alone with on the battlefield. That said, considering the enemy's range attack spells, it was dangerous for him to get too close to the front line too. The best policy was for him to leave A. Certain distance between himself and Notsuki and Akatsuki while keeping a very wary eye out for sneak attacks from the rear. As field sounds went, Smallstone Herb Garden wasn't all that difficult. The monsters that appeared here, Traffids, Weasels, Bednam Moths, were level 50 at most. There were Akatsuki and Netsugu were all level 90 adventurers. Their abilities were nearly the highest rank possible in the world of the Merc Elder Tales. Cheru's defense might be low, but with a level difference like this one, he wouldn't take damage easily. In any case, although Netsugu had said three were a lot, any one of the three could have kept 10 or 20. Fit level enemies to pieces all on their own. Oh yes, we're fine for now, but for a while Natsuku and Akatsuki had been bantering as if they didn't need all their attention for the fight, but their faces were serious. Battles were a terrifying thing, even if their bodies were enhanced, even if they were able to use spells and sword skills at the touch of an icon. Terror was a constant competition when they faced down monsters, the legs planted firmly on the ground, the hands that held his staff at the ready. This was Sherrow's real body. All of this belonged to him. The wind that brushed his cheek, the raucous howls of the monsters, and the line rushing through his spines. It was harder than he'd imagined to block or to absorb damage from the claws and fangs that were suddenly right in front of him, or the flames and globs of acid that flew at him. The three of them had determined that the only way to overcome this fear and was experience and light of it. On your right, I see it. His flame grim Natseku quickly checked the direction Sheru had warned him about, then struck with the long sword he held in his right hand. The attack missed its mark, but it seemed to have deterred the barrier weasel, blistering with green spines. The weasel glared with blood-red eyes and gave a few throaty howls backing away. The attack hadn't been an exception.